Let's go! Let's go! Woo! Over the middle, and it's complete to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson makes someone miss. Garrett Wilson's loose to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Breece Hall cuts up the middle. Breece Hall's loose. Breece Hall's gone. Breece Hall is gone. And he walks into the end zone. Josh Allen fires it over the middle. Intercepted. Sauce Gardner picks off Allen. Sauce Gardner, let's go! The rookie picks off Josh Allen. Win it. It's that ball. Oh my God. Drops back to pass. He fires it over the middle. Touchdown! Garrett Wilson! The New York Jets tie the football game! The rookie! The Jets win! The Jets win! Ashton Davis, ices the game! Let's go! Handle Quinton Williams with the tackle for loss. That's a loss of 5 yards. Josh Allen, he's gonna fire up a bomb. Josh Allen, Sauce Gardner's there for the game winner! The New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills and improved to 6-3 on the year. Sauce Gardner!
That's how we get run the ball, boy. Yeah.
Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets Media live stream. And today we're going to be breaking down Mike effing White, baby. What are the expectations for Mike White heading into the Buffalo Bills game? I hope you guys enjoyed my brand new opener. I just edited that this morning. Had to switch it up because the first one was a little outdated. As good as I love that one, it felt like it was time to switch up the new intro. And I hope you guys enjoyed that. I definitely did enjoy creating it. So if you guys could do me a favor, hit that like button on your way into the show. As we are just kicking things off, this stream is sponsored by the official sportsbook partner of Jets Media, which is BetUS, where the games begin. And we're going to be going over the lines for this game as well. Who is favored? What is the spread looking like? And all those fun things over at BetUS. If you guys want to join BetUS, you can click the link down below in the description, and they will give you $50 free with no deposit needed. You can sign up today to BetUS, and they will give you $50 of free bets without even having to make a deposit. So, hey, if I'm you guys, go down below, click that link, sign up to BetUS, and put $50 on the Jets money line because the odds are pretty crazy. So if the Jets do win this game, you're going to be up a lot of money. And if you lose, you're not losing any money, right? It's free cash that they give you. So definitely consider doing that. And also they're offering 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,500. So they got a lot of fun things over there on BetUS. So we're going to focus on Mike White in this one. We're going to be really honing in on what Mike White needs to do in order to beat the Buffalo Bills. We all know that the Bills were the team that really got the best of Mike White last season, but we also know that that is not the same team. Last year, the defense was trash. The offense was not as good as around Mike White as it is today. And we're seeing Mike White having back-to-back games over 300-plus yards. Will he be able to get that 300-plus yard mark again? Honestly, I don't care if he gets 300 yards. I just want a W. Zach Wilson put up 150 yards and still beat the Bills, right? So that's really what we're going to be breaking down in today's live stream. Everybody do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Really, really do appreciate each and every one of you guys tuning in. Shout out Jamie in the chat. Kent says, great new opener, Richie. I love it. Thank you, Kent. I put a lot of time into that this morning. Hope you guys enjoy my new opener to the streams. I want my fingers crossed in hopes that they activate Zach today. I want him to do the hero comeback win versus the Bills like in a movie, coming out of halftime through the smoking machine hero style. Sorry to break it to you, Jamie. I appreciate the love and I appreciate your support to Zach Wilson, but he's going to be inactive in the game. It's already official. He's going to be in street clothes, and Joe Flacco will be the backup behind Mike White. So Sorry, Jamie. I know you're a big Zach Wilson fan. I know you're a big supporter of the Jets, but Zach Wilson's time is not this week. We'll see if Zach Wilson plays again this year. What up, Indy Jets? Hope you're doing well. Jets forever. Uniforms choice alone. We're losing by 40. Yep, we're wearing the first time we're wearing the green pants in this game. White jerseys, green pants will be the combination. Noah says, "What's good, Richie? Listening to you while I put in some elevators. Help pass the time." Hey, Noah, helping out the world by putting in some elevators. Thank you, man. Glad I can help you get through some work, man. Appreciate the work you do. Richie, what's the over and under for Mike White touchdown passes? Thanks for asking, because let's check it out. Excuse me. So on BetUS, Mike White's total touchdown passes, they got 1.5. So it's 180, it's plus 185 if you want to bet on the over. Excuse me. It's plus 160 for the over on his touchdown passes and minus 90 for his under 1.5 pass touchdown. So that's the over under on Mike White's touchdown passes total. And on BetUS, you got all these player prop bets to choose from. You know, he's at 247.5 passing yards for the over under. He's at 22.5 completions. I think that's an easy over. He's definitely going to be doing that a lot. Pass attempts at 36.5, which is interesting. Yeah, 28 the first game, 57 the second game. 1.5 interceptions. So that's an interesting total. Longest completion, 34.5 yards. Rushing yards at 3.5. And those are all the Mike White player prop bets. And if you want to look at other player prop bets, you got Garrett Wilson at 5.5 receptions. Garrett Wilson, 63.5 receiving yards. Longest reception, 22.5. And for Garrett Wilson to just get a touchdown, it's at plus 195. So they've got a lot of awesome player prop bets here on BetUS if you guys want to join the show. But let's get into I'm curious to see the odds for the money line and all those things. So BetUS says the Jets at 10-point underdogs. Also, plus 385. So if you guys download BetUS right now, they will give you $50 of free bets without even making a deposit. You don't have to sign up for any of your bank information, no credit card, nothing. You make an account and you click that link down below. They give you $50 of free bets. So if I'm you guys, I do that and I put $50 on the Jets money line because what do you got to lose? It's at plus 385. So if you win, you're going to pretty much be up a lot of money, a lot of cash to play with. So that's what I would do. And they also got the over-under at 43. I mean, the Jets at plus 10 is pretty disrespectful, in my opinion. I mean, we freaking beat this team like in week 9. Do people forget about that? We literally beat the Bills. But I don't expect us to be favorites, but 10 points? Sheesh. The disrespect is real. The disrespect is real, man. I just want a playoff berth for Christmas this year. Please, Santa, that's all I want. The White Knight connection will lead to a touchdown. I like that. The White Knight. That's a cool one. I like that. Don't understand why the entire world is saying we're going to get owned. But the good thing about that is the Jets love that energy. We want the whole world to think we're going to get owned. So that's really what it comes down to. But let's break down Mike White real quick, because Mike White in the first 2 games, you know, he had a perfect outing against the Chicago Bears, against one of the worst defenses in the league, which is a great thing. Against the Minnesota Vikings, who is a way better team, he puts up 369 yards. He was having clutch throw after clutch throw, looked poised, looked confident, had some throws I'm sure he wants back. But now this is the biggest test for Mike White this season, because the Buffalo Bills have the best defense that he's going to be faced all year. I mean, after this game, you know, we got the Lions, who are a trash defense, who are a very good team, though. The Jaguars, who have a bad defense. The Seahawks, who have an okay defense. And then the Dolphins, who have, you know, not the best defense. So this Bills defense will be the toughest defense the Jets face for the remainder of the year. I think that the Jets got to be able to, put up points against this Buffalo Bills defense, because also you have to put into consideration the Jets went up against the Bills defense without Matt Milano, Poyer, Trey White when we beat them, but Von Miller will be out, so it kind of balances it out. Dominic comes in here and says, Richie, you were not honest on Jake Asman yesterday. You just spun the good and not the bad about noodle-armed Woody from Toy Story. Still love you, man, but be real. Not sure what you're referring to here, man. Noodle-armed Woody from Toy Story. Sorry if I disrespected you, my man. Not sure what you're referring to, but I had a great time on the Jake Asman show. And I also love constructive criticism. I'm always here for constructive criticism. Let me guess, Patriots defense is elite. It is. It is. So, what we also have to realize about this game coming up, and I just referenced it, this is the biggest test for Mike White in terms of the defense that he's facing. Because if he picks apart this Bills defense, then we really do have a big discussion to have about the future of this quarterback position for the New York Jets. Right? Right? And that's what we have to say. So you said you only said the good about Mike White. Yeah, I mean, maybe I forgot to mention the bad. I mean, I say the bad on my channel, so I guess I just got caught up on Jake's show and forgot to mention the bad. The bad about Mike White, I would say, is, I mean, I thought I mentioned this, but he missed Elijah Moore on the go route. I'm not Elijah Moore. Excuse me. Garrett Wilson on that go route down the field. He had him wide open, and he missed him. I'm sure he wants that throw back. He also missed Elijah Moore on that play on 3rd and 10 at the end of the game when he rolled to his right. He had Elijah Moore open, and if he completed that pass, it would have gave the Jets 4 more opportunities to score a touchdown to win. So there's a lot of good to love about Mike White, but there's no means am I saying that he's perfect. He's far from perfect, and he needs to figure things out in terms of, making the right throws. And I feel like the Jets have a lot of opportunities to elevate Mike White's game, as well as, Mike White getting his stuff together as well. And I think that, we need to understand as a fan base that even if Mike White goes out there and has like a stinker, is this like the short leash for Mike White? Does he only have 3 games and then he's done? Like, are the Jets going to give Mike White an opportunity to learn from this game and play against the Lions, right? Or are they going to put Zach Wilson back out there? I don't know. But I think that this is a big test for Mike White for a huge reason, because he's an unrestricted free agent. So if Mike White wants to get paid the big bucks, whether it's from the Jets or whether it's from another team, he's going to try to do his best to play his best football. And I also like that he said in his press conference yesterday that he understands that he cannot try to play hero ball, because if he tries to play hero ball, trying to put up the best numbers, that's going to, hold this team back, because we have a stout running attack. We got Michael Carter returning, which is a big plus, because now we have Bam Knight and Carter in that backfield, which gets me very excited. And I also think that if we establish a run game, that's going to help out Mike White a lot, because, you set us up to play action. Garrett Wilson's probably getting double teamed a lot. So that frees up Corey Davis. It frees up Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, Braxton Berrios. All the receivers got to step up in this game, as well as the tight ends, CJ Uzama, Tyler Conklin. I also hope that this offense can start off good, because we cannot get down early against the Bills, like we did against the Minnesota Vikings. The difference between the Vikings and the Bills is the Vikings defense is a little skeptical, whereas the Bills defense is not. So if we get down early in the first half, it's going to be a lot harder to come back and win, which is why we need this Jets offense to come out of the gate in the first quarter ready to go. I mean, they came out flat against the Vikings in their first and second quarter. So we need the run game to be going. We need Mike White to get the ball down the field, and we need to score touchdowns. Is it too much to ask to have at least 2 touchdowns by half? Like, can we put up 14 points by the half, right? Is that too much to ask? Maybe 10 points? I mean, we put up 20 points against them and beat them. It's going to be a really tough sled to just hold the Bills to 17 points again. But I really think that this Jets offense is going to be, the X factor for this game. And, of course, the defenses as well. I mean, you see Quinnen Williams dancing right there, and the defense was the reason why we beat the Bills last time. We contained Josh Allen. He had 2 turnovers. We were sacking him. We were intercepting him. We were creating pressure. He was seeing things. His eyes were all over the place, and we were in Josh Allen's head, to be honest. And that's, I don't know if we can pan on that to happen again, because now Josh Allen's going to learn from his mistakes. He watches the film. He knows what to expect now. And this is what the division games are about, man. You got to verse the same team twice. You're going to see some different wrinkles from each different coaching staff. And I think that this Jets defense is going to have to be on their A game, because they've been, the last 2 games haven't been on their A game. I mean, against the Chicago Bears, they gave up 10 points in the first 2 drives, but then they, shut them out for the remainder of the game. But then against the Vikings, they were not perfect by any stretch. They gave up 20 points in the first half and then 7 points in the second half. And they gave up 27 points, and that's not going to help us win games. That's not successful defense. So, it's a team effort here. But when you talk about the elements of playing in Buffalo, in the ice, in the wind, in the rain, in the cold weather, it's really going to be coming down to Zonovan Knight and Michael Carter really establishing that run game. Mike White playing within the structure of the offense, making sure that they stay within, each other. Definitely, check the ball down to your running backs, check the ball down a lot, but also don't be shy to, stretch the field. Throw that ball down the field a little bit, take some shots. And I think that this Jets offense has to make sure that they take shots down the field to Garrett Wilson, because Garrett Wilson's playing nothing short of a superstar right now, ladies and gentlemen. He's really playing like one of the better receivers in football, not even just the best rookie receiver, but these past stretch of games, he's playing like a top receiver. So it's up to Garrett Wilson to continue that. It's up to Mike White to continue to trust Garrett Wilson and understand that the game plan for the Bills' defensive perspective, they're definitely going to try to shut down Garrett Wilson, because he's our best player on offense right now, no doubt about it. And I feel like this Jets offense and it's really crazy because the Jets did not target Garrett Wilson once in the first quarter last week, and he ended up with 15 targets. So let's try to get Garrett Wilson the ball early on. And if he's getting double teamed, he's not getting open for whatever reason, we got Elijah Moore. We got Corey Davis. And that's the luxury of having all these playmakers. You shut one guy down, we have another guy that's going to get freed up. And when it comes to the running attack, we have found out news about Max Mitchell, guys. For those that are not aware about the news, Max Mitchell's unfortunately suffered blood clots. So he's done for the year with a non-football related injury. But the good news is, in terms of the offensive line, George Fant's back. So George Fant's at right tackle. We have a fully healthy offensive line right now. Mike Remmers will be the backup behind Fant and Brown. But, all, thoughts goes to Max Mitchell as the person, because that's some serious stuff. And hopefully he's going to be okay. That's the last thing you like to hear about a player on this football team, going down with an issue like that. So, thoughts and prayers definitely goes out to Max Mitchell. Hopefully he's okay. But when it comes to the offensive line, the way it's constructed, George Fant looked pretty good. I know he had a really bad penalty, that block in the back that caused the Jets, a big-time blow in the red zone. But him at right tackle, Nate Herbig at right guard, McGovern at center, Tomlinson at left guard, and Dwayne Brown at left tackle. I mean, that's a pretty stout offensive line right now. We're healthy. So let's hope that we can continue to stay healthy. And those are the same 5 guys for the rest of the season, because we need continuity, man. When's the last time we had an offensive line play, together for multiple games in a row without an injury? So let's hope that stays together. Our tight ends need to get, Tyler Conklin needs to wake up. He cannot suffer drops. He needs to be more reliable. Let's get CJ Uzomah the ball a little bit more. And let's continue to play our style of football. Let's punch people in the mouth and just be violent. And that's really the mantra that Robert Saleh has been implementing here since he came to the New York Jets last season. And we didn't really believe Saleh last year because the Jets were so bad. But now that we're winning, we need to make sure that we continue to play our style of football, which is punching you in the mouth in the trenches, running the ball. We're not going to win this game without a run game. And, we had a good run game against the Vikings, but it really felt like it wasn't that good. It was kind of like, that big explosive play that Bam had in the fourth quarter kind of, skewed the stats. I want to see more of a consistent running approach. Don't abandon the run. Let's see the offensive line open up the holes. Let's see Bam Knight get loose for some first downs. Let's see Michael Carter get going a little bit. And I think that the Jets absolutely need to establish a run game in this one, because especially in the elements in Buffalo, in the windy, cold weather, they need to make sure that the run game comes first. Because if you can do that, that means we control the clock and control the ball. And that's also going to help out Mike White. And I also think that the Jets, as a coaching staff, they want this win, man. This is a big time game for a lot of reasons. We're the 7th seed in the AFC. A loss and a Patriots win, we're out. So this is a big time game. Luckily, the Raiders lost last night in a crazy game because they were definitely right on our tails if they ended up winning and we lost. So Mike White, man, he has an opportunity to win this fan base and win this organization over with a win. And Zach Wilson beat the Bills, and he didn't do that much to do, right? We scored 20 points. Zach Wilson played smart football, put up 154 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers. Well, he did have a fumble, but he didn't throw an interception. So can Mike White do that same thing? Play turnover-free football, be smart with your throws, don't force it, take what the defense gives you, and hopefully Greg Zuerlein can be on his A game, and we could score more touchdowns. And let's see this Jets team put up 20-plus points against the Jets, against the Bills, man. Right? Let's see it. Mike effing White. Because this Jets football team has a chance to go 8-5, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but if the Jets win this game, their playoff opportunity just increases a lot. I mean, every game from here on out is a championship game. 5 games remaining, 7-5. They control their own destiny. We're definitely rooting for other teams around the Jets to lose, but at the end of the day, if the Jets control their own business, they will make the playoffs. If they want to really make the playoffs, this is a game you got to win. And it definitely is going to be tough to beat the Bills twice, guys. I think we need to understand that the Buffalo Bills are rolling right now. They only have 3 losses this season. And I heard one of the Bills, broadcasters on one of their Bills talk shows, and he had something interesting to say. I don't know his name, so I can't really remember what he said. But I think it was on MSG Networks. He said that the Bills' 3 losses, the loss against the Dolphins for the Bills and the loss against the Vikings kind of felt like a fluke, where it kind of felt like they just got unlucky. But he said, like, against the Jets, that wasn't unlucky. The Jets just outplayed the Bills. The Jets beat them outright. Whereas the Dolphins game, there's a lot of injuries. The weather was in factors. A lot of things that went wonky in that game. And then the Vikings, obviously, if you remember that Bills-Vikings game, they were winning and just a collapse happened, which is definitely a weird, fluke. But he said that Jets-Bills game, the Jets just outright outplayed them. They were more hungry. They played better defense. They executed their game plan. They had Josh Allen going all over the place. And it's pretty cool that, we beat the Bills. And can we do it again? Because that would be great. If we sweep the Buffalo Bills, then this Jets team is going to be peaking, right, at 8-5, heading into the 3rd week of December, going up against a Detroit Lions team. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. Now, is it going to come down to a Mike White come from behind opportunity, or are we going to have a lead that we're protecting? Which one is it going to be? Because Mike White has a big opportunity here, guys, to prove the fan base and to the organization. 5 more games Mike White has to prove to be the long-term answer for this organization. Now, I know that Zach Wilson's still here, and I know that the Jets still have an intent of developing him for the long term. But this is Mike White's opportunity, and that's what we're talking about, man, because he hasn't proved it yet. He's only played 2 freaking games, and he had a perfect game against a crappy Bears team. He had a good game against a good Vikings team. But if Mike White wants to prove to be our guy, our franchise quarterback, which is not too, far-fetched, by the way, this is the game he has to prove that he can play good football. Because if he goes up there and puts up a stinker like he did last year, 4 interceptions, and we get blown out, then, yeah, we have an interesting conversation to have. But this could be the game, one way or the other. He could also just have an average game where he puts up, 201 yards, a touchdown, and we lose or we win. But this is going to be a game where the Jets absolutely need to rally behind Mike White, and Mike White got to be on his A game, bro. It's definitely going to be a very intriguing game. So if you guys want to check out BetUS, who's a sponsor of today's live stream, they got the Jets at freaking plus 10. How disrespectful. And the money line's at plus 385. I'm hammering that money line. I don't care. and then the player prop bets and all the other bets they got on here. And if you guys want to download BetUS, they give you $50 of free money with no deposit needed by clicking the link down below in the description. Then they also give you 125% sign-up bonus up to $2,500. So you get two options. I'm signing up to BetUS. If you guys do want to sign up, I'll be greatly, greatly appreciated. They got a really fun, cool little bets here, you know. First to score, Jets or Bills. First scoring play of the game. Is it a Jets touchdown, a Jets field goal, Jets any other score? Will there be a defensive or special teams touchdown? Total touchdowns over 4.5, under 4.5. You know, there's a lot of interesting bets, especially on the player props. You know, they got Mike White at 36.5 pass attempts. Mike White, 1.5 touchdown passes. Corey Davis. You know, they got a lot of cool player prop bets. So if you guys definitely want to check out BetUS, that link is down below in the description. We need a W. Now, I don't want to, you know, sound like I'm a loser, but there is still a path to make the playoffs with a loss. But that's okay because that's not going to happen. Mike White's going to prove to be the guy, and he's going to go out there and beat the damn Bills. This is also a big test for Sauce. Sauce Gardner against Stephon Diggs. DJ Reed against Stephon Diggs. Michael Carter II against Stephon Diggs. Jordan Whitehead. I mean, the entire secondary against one of the greatest receivers in the game right now. And it's also up to the defensive pass rush unit. Can they get to Josh Allen again? Like they did last time. They sacked Josh Allen 5 times. 5. They need to do that again if they want to win this game. The Bills are going to be at home. They're coming off 10-day rest. So it's not going to be an easy situation here, everyone. Woo. So, guys, if you could do me a gigantic favor, smash that thumbs up button. We only have 23 likes. So if you guys are enjoying the show and you're enjoying me and you really want to help out me as a YouTuber, simply hit that thumbs up button, guys. It goes a long way. It's a free of charge. You don't got to do anything else. If you have a YouTube account signed in, click that thumbs up button, man. Help me out. Get the 50 likes. Let's do it, baby. Let's do it. I also want to show you guys, because I'm sure some of you did not see it, but I made a brand new intro to my live streams, and I kind of want to show it to you guys now that we do have some of you new folks in the stream that missed it early on. So I'm going to play this video, and thank you for everyone hitting the like button. I'm going to play this video. This is my new intro to my live streams, and I want to get your guys' thoughts. It's basically a compilation of all of my calls throughout the season, all the highlights of the season, me just going ballistic and going crazy. So here's the my new intro to my live stream. So let me know what you guys think at the end. Let's go! Woo! Over the middle, and it's complete to Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson makes someone miss. Garrett Wilson's loose to the 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown! Breece Hall cuts up the middle. Breece Hall's loose. Breece Hall's gone. Breece Hall is gone. He walks into the end zone. Josh Allen fires it over the middle. Intercepted. Sauce Gardner picks off Allen. Sauce Gardner, let's go! The rookie picks off Josh Allen. Win it. It's a ball. Oh my God. Drops back to pass. He fires it over the middle. Touchdown! Garrett Wilson! The New York Jets tie the football game! The rookie! The Jets win! The Jets win! Ashton Davis, ices the game! Let's go! Handle Quinton Williams with the tackle for loss. That's a loss of 5 yards. Josh Allen is going to fire up a bomb. Josh Allen, Sauce Gardner's there for the game winner! The New York Jets beat the Buffalo Bills and improved to 6-3 on the year. Sauce Gardner!
Today, that's how we get on the ball, boy. Yeah.
Well, there you have it. Let me know your guys' thoughts of that. Whew. You got a lot of energy in that one. You got a lot of me just screaming at you. Thank you guys. I appreciate because if you guys remember off the top of your head my intro before that, it's a little outdated. Some things in that one doesn't really add up to what's happening today, so I kind of wanted to update it. And the reason why it's a little long is because, you know, when the intro starts, that's the beginning of the stream, so I want everybody to come in. Everyone gets the notification that I'm live. It's a 2-minute intro, so by the time the intro is all done, we got a lot of people tuned in. But yeah, just wanted to show you guys my new live stream intro. So let's get back into Mike White, man. I am a madman phenom. And by the way, I go live for every game, if you didn't know that. I will be live for this game as well. I'm really excited for this game, man. Watching myself react like that, yo, going back to that Bills W, man, that feeling, dude, I'll never forget that feeling when we beat the Bills in Week 9, bro. Holy crap. I'll never forget that feeling, man. That's when it really hit me like, wow. This Jets team is here. I mean, we're about to freaking beat the Bills, and we did. So I'm really excited, dude. I'm really excited on Sunday. I'll be live for the entire game. For those guys that are not aware, I call the game live, play-by-play. I don't have access, I'm not showing the game visually, but I'm giving you guys my live radio type of play-by-play reaction. And it's going to be pretty crazy on Sunday. And I give you the energy. I go crazy. I never get too high. I never get too low. And I got to deal with all of the toxic people in the chat throughout the game. We were down by a touchdown. Everyone's like, oh, the game's over. Jets stink. I'm like, come on. Be optimistic, folks. Please. Oh, my God. There's so many fun stuff to think back. There's so many fun things that happened this season, bro. So many. And we're in the middle of the season, so I don't want to recap all the highlights throughout the season yet because there's still a full season to get through. 5 games left. Hopefully 6 games because that means we make the playoffs. But yeah. So guys, we're going to get into the next segment of the show where my great friend is going to join. I think you guys know who it's going to be. What up, Jack?
I just got something that I gotta get off my chest, bro. I've been letting it marinate for weeks now, and I just gotta let it out. I gotta let it out of my system, man.
Of
and
course.
all you Bills fans out there are gonna get triggered because of this one. But how about the Bills fans humble themselves? Because we've already got a dub against the Bills this year. So do the Dolphins. So do the Vikings. So how about you humble yourselves real quick before acting like you've won the last 3 Super Bowls in a row? Because as of right now, the entire Bills legacy is losing in the postseason and losing 4 Super Bowls in a row back in the 90s, whenever the hell that was. So you know what? How about instead of acting like your franchise has won the last 3 championships in a row, how about you guys make it to the big game? How about you do something in the postseason before acting like, oh, this is the Super Bowl Express. Here we go. Buffalo Bills, Bills Mafia, baby, Super Bowl champions. It's nonsense, dude. Because as of right now, the entire Bills legacy is failure. That's the legacy of the Buffalo Bills. So until you change that and actually win the Super Bowl, you guys got nothing to say. Absolutely nothing to say, especially since we beat your ass already this year. And I don't know how this game is going to turn out. The Jets could very well lose this game. They probably will lose this game. But Bills fans are acting like they're at the top of the mountain where nobody else can even touch them when they haven't done shit. They have not done a single thing. Let's see Josh Allen get a ring, and then you guys could talk all your shit, acting like you're the kings of the castle. It's nonsense, man. The Bills are a shitty franchise historically. And because they've been good the last couple of years, everybody think, oh, Super Bowl Express, Super Bowl champions, baby. It's nonsense, dude. It is nonsense. Nonsense. I'm just quite frankly, I'm tired of hearing how amazing and unbeatable the Buffalo Bills are when they're not. That's what I had to get off my chest right there.
I love that. That was awesome.
I mean, is it not true though? Their entire legacy is failing when it matters. So until you guys flip that narrative, I don't want to hear anything about the mighty Buffalo Bills.
I got into a heated argument on the AFC's roundtable about something similar after the Jets beat the Bills. You know, I was on cloud nine. I was, maybe I was very arrogant and cocky because we won, so I was talking my crap. And the Bills fans came on, was like, Richie, you're talking all this crap, like this is your Super Bowl, like blah 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 blah. And then like I brought up like, what have the Bills done in recent memory besides make it to the playoffs and lose? Like the Bills were right down with the Jets of being a shitty franchise when the Patriots dynasty was reigning through our division. Like, yeah, they've been good the past 3 years and that's it. Like the Jets haven't been good the past 3 years, so we can't talk about that, but they act like they have been, a dynasty. Like, no, the Patriots are the only team in this division that can talk crap. And they're not good this season, but
100%.
they've been the dynasty. They have 6 Super Bowl rings. The Bills have not done shit. And that's always been my thing. And I couldn't agree more, man. It's frustrating. I had to we both went to college upstate, you in Buffalo. I was, outside of Buffalo, but right up there in Western New York. So we were surrounded by Bills Mafia. But they're a passionate fan base, and I couldn't agree more, man. Angel says LMAO Jack is on fire.
Appreciate you, Angel. I also love the new intro. I was watching that before I joined. That's good,
you
man.
saw that?
It's good.
Yeah, I had to update it. It was a little outdated, the one that I've been playing from the draft.
And I'm also, tired of seeing my face when we draft Sauce Gardner. I'm like, I hope it works out.
And same with Garrett Wilson too. You're like,
and
then Jermaine Johnson.
Oh man, I feel so much better after saying that, dude. I feel so much better. I've been waiting for Bills week to come out with this because I'm tired of it, man. The Bills have everything still left to prove, and so do the Jets. I'm not saying, I'm not saying anything about the Jets right now. I'm just talking about Bills fans who thinks that their quarterback is the best of all time, that their coach is the best of all time, that they are, on this pathway to a Super Bowl victory. How about you make it to a Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying? Like, how about we make it to the big game? Like, before you guys are acting like you've won the last 3. Like, it really is insane.
I'll call it right now. This is not the last game of the season we've faced the Bills. I think it's going to be Jets-Bills wildcard weekend. The 7 seed versus the 2 seed.
Sign me up for that, man. 3-0 against Buffalo this year?
Can you imagine that? We beat them Sunday. We get into the playoffs at the 7 seed. They're the 2 seed. They win the division. Congratulations. And then in the first week of the season, we get them in Buffalo and beat them again. I mean, that would be the demise of them. I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that just sounds fantastic.
I totally feel you, man. And we're not getting ahead of ourselves. We're not here saying that the Jets are going to win this Sunday. We're not here saying that the Jets are going to potentially beat the Bills in the postseason. All I'm saying is that the Bills fans are so ridiculous, so stuck up on that imaginary high horse of theirs that it's time for them to be humbled. It's really time for them to be humbled and realize that in the grand scheme of things, their franchise has not done jack shit since Jim Kelly went to 4 Super Bowls in a row and lost them all. Whatever decade that was, the early 90s, I think, the late 80s, I don't know. But that right now is the Buffalo Bills legacy. Until Josh Allen hoists up the Lombardi Trophy, I'm tired of hearing from Bills fans about how unbeatable their team is. Because clearly they're not. We've body bagged them once. The Dolphins body bagged them once. The Vikings body bagged them once. I don't want to hear it. Every team is beatable, especially the Buffalo Bills.
Let's go. Come on. Oh my gosh. I mean, if you want to have someone to talk to about this Bills team, TD Finstock's your guy. I mean, he's like the number 1 Bills and Josh Allen hater I've ever seen. I mean, he gives them no credit ever. He's always said Josh Allen's trash and overrated, and I love that energy. We need more of it.
We do
So,
need more of it.
so this live stream, the title of it is Mike White expectations against the Buffalo Bills, and this is going to be Mike White's biggest test. And this is going to be, frankly, the hardest defense the Jets face for the rest of the season. You look at the rest of the schedule. We got the Lions, who are playing great football, but their defense is not anything. It's their offense that's good. The Jaguars, not a good defense. The Seahawks, they got an okay defense, but it's nothing spectacular. And then the Dolphins. So this is going to be, the hardest defense that Mike White faces for the rest of the year. Whoever the quarterback is for the rest of the year, we don't know. So what do you want to see from Mike White in this game? Because Zach Wilson beat the Bills, and he didn't have to do much. I mean, he put up 154 yards and a touchdown and no interceptions with one turnover via a strip sack. But, I think the reason why we beat the Bills last time, Jack, was because of our defense. I mean, our defense really won that game. So what do you want to see in Mike White in this one? And not really box score wise, but just game plan going into there.
Yeah,
Buffalo.
It sounds like kind of a stupid answer, but I want Mike White to just be Mike White. I want Mike White to play Mike White's brand of football. I want him to make the throws. I want him to stand tall in the pocket. I think Von Miller being out is going to be huge for us. I think the offensive line obviously needs to do their part in this as well. That's the one thing that Mike White lacks compared to Zach Wilson is the mobility and the ability to escape from pressure. But where Mike White makes up for it is his ability to stand tall and deliver a rifle. So I want Mike White to just play Mike White's brand of football, but I don't think this game is going to come down to that. I think this game is going to be very similar to the one we saw previously this year. I think we're going to be in for, or at least I hope, that Bam Knight's going to put on a show. I hope the offensive line is going to put in work. And then obviously, the Jets defense needs to do their thing again and contain Josh Allen and humble his sorry ass. Let's see Jermaine Johnson get another solo sack. While Josh Allen's about to sprint up the sideline for however many yards that play could have gone for. But obviously Mike White needs to do his thing and play the Mike White brand of football. But I genuinely think this is going to be a very, very similar game to the one we already saw this season. I don't think Mike White is going to have to do much. I think it's going to come down to the defense, number one, the Jets defense, that is, not the Bills defense. The Jets defense needs to get back on the ball. We obviously had a pretty damn good second half against the Vikings. Not perfect, obviously, but if we want to beat the Bills, if we want to sweep the Buffalo Bills, they need to have their best game of the year this Sunday.
And you know what offensively and Mike White needs to do better that he did not do good in Minnesota is starting off the game good offensively.
That first half is pathetic for pretty much.
And if you get down big to the Bills, you're not going to come back. I mean, anything can happen, but the offense needs to be able to execute and score points and a touchdown, at least the bare minimum in the first half. Like, we cannot go into halftime with 3 points or 6 points with 2 field goals or something like that, where the Bills are definitely, I mean, their Jets defense is good, but, the Bills are going to score some touchdowns in this one at home, no doubt about it. So I think it's really up to this offense and Mike White to really execute, get the ball down the field into the red zone and execute, the game plan by getting in the damn end zone. And it comes down to, the players executing. It's up to Mike LaFleur to call the right plays, and it's up to the players to catch the football, because if Berrios caught the ball, we'd have a completely different conversation all week long, just saying. So I think that's a big key to this game too, Jack, is them starting off strong offensively, because against the Vikings, we came out flat offensively, and it really, made this team lose. I mean, if we didn't start off slow, I feel like we would have won that game.
100%. I mean, what did we lose by 5 points?
Yeah.
So, if we went 2 for 6 in the red zone as opposed to 1 for 6, we would have won that game. Obviously, we got to hope for everything else to go the way it did. But, and this is all hypothetical, but, obviously the red zone offense, number one, I hope they've been, working the shit out of the red zone drill in practice this week. Obviously, it doesn't all come down to Mike White. Obviously, we'd love to see Braxton Berrios make that play. I would like to see, more creative play calling near the goal line. I hated that fade to Garrett Wilson. I don't want to see any of that. I like the idea of, forcing the run and pounding the rock. But when it's not working, it's not working. And if we're gonna run an inside zone with Bam Knight, many times throughout the game previously, and it's sometimes working, sometimes not working. I don't know if that's the play to go to twice in a row when we're at the goal line. Granted, I know Bam put in work to get us from the 5 to the 1 on a play that looked like it was blown up. But I think this is a huge test for Mike LaFleur as well. Can he come back from an objectively bad game? Like, I don't care, what your thoughts are on Mike LaFleur as a whole, but that game was bad. He did not call a good game against the Vikings. Clearly, he did not call a good game when we're 1 for 6 in the red zone. He did not have a good game. So we need Mike LaFleur to be on his A game. We need our skill position players to catch everything that's thrown their way. I'm looking at you, BetUS. I'm looking at you, Tyler Conklin. And obviously some of that lands on the quarterback as well. If Mike White hit that throw to Garrett Wilson streaking up the sideline, that game could have ended in a different way.
No doubt.
It really is going to come down to, as every game is, this is going to be a team win. I don't think one individual player or even one side of the ball is going to be the sole reason that we win this game. I think everybody's going to have to come to play. This is a home game in Buffalo.
That's how we beat them in week 9. It was a full team win. Shout out to Cap for Life. He says, Richie, is it me or does Mike White look just like you? I think it's a sign. I can see it now. Richie leading his Jets to victory this week versus Buffalo, and Finn's beating Herbert. Let's make magic, bro. Well, we appreciate that. We got the Dolphins fans rooting for the Jets on Sunday. We appreciate the love to Jets media, my man. Good luck to your Finns. And it's pretty interesting, Jack. Depending on what happens against the Jets in the Bills game,
I know,
kind of determines what we need on Sunday night with the Bills and with the Dolphins and the Chargers. Because if you look at it in two perspectives, say we beat the Bills, and that's awesome. It's either the Chargers lose and we get a huge lead on the Chargers, or the Chargers win and the Dolphins lose, which results in us getting ahead of the Dolphins and setting up the Jets in that Dolphins game at the end of the year even better, for a better chance to make the playoffs and even go for the division. So it's kind of going to be interesting, because if the Jets lose against the Bills, we kind of need the Dolphins to win because the Chargers cannot win, because then they'll be ahead of us, because it's also a conference game for the Chargers as well. So if the Chargers beat the Dolphins and the Jets lose, the Chargers have the tiebreaker over us.
You're absolutely right. And you know where my head goes with all of this? How amazing is it to be talking about this instead of talking about who we're taking as the 3rd overall pick? You know what I'm saying?
So amazing.
Screw all of that. I'm down to root against the Raiders. I'm down to root against the Chargers. I'm down for the Jets to win. We're in the playoff push, guys. This is where we wanted to be going into this year. So we're really right on schedule, man. I know, we took 2 horrible L's to the Patriots that I'll be thinking about for the rest of my life. The Vikings game is going to sting for a long, long time. But we're right on schedule with where we were hoping to be this year. We really are. So we got to occasionally just zoom out.
And look at all the injuries you've suffered, man.
In the right direction.
The job that Joe Douglas has done with his offensive line, Breece Hall, AVT being done for the year. Hell, we have 3 quarterbacks this season. 3 quarterbacks playing at least 3 games minimum. And we're 7-5. So you're 100% right, Jack. We have to take the step out and look at each other and realize we've made it, man. Based on the expectations, it definitely changes. And now we want the playoffs and we're hungry for the playoff berth. But if I told you in August that we're 7-5 heading into the Bills game and we're at the 7th seed in the East in the AFC, I'm pretty sure we're all excited about the future, man, especially if I told you who's injured and what the current state is, personnel wise.
Absolutely, man. The stuff that this team has overcome this year, whether it's locker room drama, quarterback change, obviously injuries being the biggest factor of that. Who deserves the ultimate shout out for all this, I think, is Robert Saleh.
Seriously,
Robert Saleh really just holding the ship together.
Every week, I'm just blown away by him. Every time there's a little negative something brewing where it feels like a typical Jet thing, he's just so good at handling it to the media behind closed doors. He's just a grown up and he's a leader. And it's there's always going to be drama with the Jets. I feel like we're we're never not going to have drama, but it feels good that we have a coach that knows exactly how to handle it and not make it spiral into something that's just collapses the franchise rather than killing it in the butt right away.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad to see that the results are actually, here. The wins are here. We're actually getting tangible results. Because the point I wanted to make here, I think we are so tired of, mediocrity and being bottom feeders and, having terrible head coach after terrible head coach after terrible head coach, that especially because Salah's this big time energy, rah type of guy. Salah was given, you guys in the chat, let me know how you think about this. Salah was given a longer leash from the get than I think a lot of other head coaches are. We were all looking for Adam Gase to be fired, in the first year. After a 4-win season last year, nobody's really turning on Salah. And I think a part of that is really because we're so frustrated with having shitty head coach after shitty head coach and being bottom feeders and thinking about the draft in November. That Salah was given a long leash. But the original point I wanted to make is that I'm so glad that it's actually translating to wins on the field. And we can say, without lying to ourselves, without kidding ourselves, hey, I think we actually might have the coach of the future. Because we all wanted Salah to work out. We came from Adam Gase and, Todd Bowles and, Mangini was a nightmare. And, the last couple of years with Rex, he was incompetent as well. Salah was given a long leash from the get. And I'm just happy that he's earned that. Obviously he's still got a lot of time to go. But I'm happy that he's kind of earned the praise that was coming his way, just because we were so freaking tired of the boring ass head coaches that we've suffered through for the majority of our lifetimes. Me and you speaking, that, we were all so hyped on Salah. But it's not unwarranted. It's warranted now. 7-5, dealing with 3 quarterbacks. The praise is warranted. So I'm just so happy with that.
Yeah. And I said going into the season, there's 2 things I want to know. And unfortunately, one of them isn't a good thing, right? Number one, at the end of the year, are us as a Jets fan base content and happy with Robert Saleh's job? Do we feel like he's the future? Do we want him fired? Is he the guy? Are there still people questioning him? And I think all those answers are being, all those questions are being answered right now, like you just said. The other one, though, is Zach Wilson the future of this team? And the unfortunate reality is right now that's completely up in the air. And we can all agree, obviously there's still some Zach Wilson fans that believe in him, but it's not looking good for his future with this Jets team. I mean, he's freaking benched. He's not even playing. I mean, you can't ask for a more worse situation for Zach Wilson in terms of his ability to be the franchise quarterback. So that was the big narrative I was pushing in August. All right, guys, whether we have a winning record or not, whether we make the playoffs or not, the 2 big things we need to look out for is Robert Saleh the future of this team? Is Zach Wilson the future of this team? And at least we found Robert Saleh to be the answer. And hell, Zach Wilson might not be the guy, but Mike White might prove to be the guy. And hey, maybe Zach Wilson somehow turns out to be the franchise quarterback. I have no idea.
Yeah, and I think the revolving door of quarterbacks that we've experienced this year between Flacco to start the year and then Zach Wilson and now Mike White, I think that's even more of a testament to what Robert Saleh is able to do as the head coach of this team. No matter who's playing quarterback, we're able to win games. Joe Flacco won a game. Zach Wilson went 5-2. Mike White has had a stellar performance and almost another victory. Mike White, is one throw away from being 2-0 as the starter. So, I think that's even when you look at the rotating cast of characters, especially at the quarterback position, the most crucial and important position on the field. I think it's even more credit. I think even more credit should be given to Robert Saleh.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And especially the way he's handling the quarterback situation. You have any idea how hard it is for a head coach to bench the 2nd overall pick in the draft in the 2nd year, especially when he's 5-2? Zach wasn't losing. I mean, he was the reason why we lost those 2 games, but it wasn't like we were a losing team when they benched Zach Wilson. So listen, if you guys watch my channel, I've always defended Zach Wilson. I always supported him, and same with Jack. And listen, if Zach Wilson comes back eventually at the end of this year, or the Jets really feel like he worked on a lot of fundamental stuff and he can fix it, because I think we can all agree that if Zach Wilson just makes the easy throws and he cleans up the fundamentals and, clicks processing things mentally, he could be a great quarterback in the NFL. the reality is that hasn't clicked yet. And if you don't have the mentality and the IQ and to be able to process things live and being able to have your lower half connected to your arm, then all that unique talent that Zach Wilson possesses won't matter. And that's the biggest issue with Zach.
Yeah.
So maybe the Jets are doing a great job right now by pushing the reset button. All right, Mike White, this is your time to shine. Now behind the scenes, we have no idea what's going on with Zach Wilson in terms of if he's, elevating his game. Is he improving? Is he working on the fundies properly? Is he ever going to come back and look like a completely different quarterback? Because in his rookie season, when he got hurt, Jack, he came back from that injury watching Flacco, Mike White, all those quarterbacks execute it. And he learned a lot and came back playing his best football. So I'm curious, we're never going to see Zach Wilson play again this year if Mike White continues to ball out. But I am curious about the whole Zach Wilson future with this team. But that's a whole other conversation to have.
Yeah, I think it's too tough to call as of right now. Obviously, you got Mike White in the picture. I'll say one thing: I would like to see Zach at least active. I'd like to see Zach go in the game if God forbid Mike White goes down. I think obviously Joe Flacco has the ability to be the facilitator, but if there's one person that is certainly not the future of the Jets, it's Joe Flacco. It might be Mike White, it might be Zach Wilson, but it's 100% not Joe Flacco. So I think putting Flacco in there is just asinine,
I think this should be the last week that Zach's inactive, in my opinion. I think
I don't want to see
you
Zach
make him the backup behind in the Lions game behind Mike White because
I agree. I don't want to see Zach in a hoodie on the sidelines for the rest of the year. I want Zach to be preparing like he's going to go into the game at any moment's notice. The thing that
you gave him 3 weeks of reset without the anticipation of oh wait, I really got to work on this because I could potentially go in the game on Sunday if Mike White gets injured, which is why I think the Jets are making him inactive so he doesn't have that worry of rushing his process. Oh my God, I really got to fix this right now because I'm the backup. I could play Sunday, and I think that's why the Jets are kind of making him relax. Not giving him that extra stress of holy crap, I really got to fix this footwork. I really got to fix these fundies because I'm going to be the backup. So they gave him 3 weeks, including this game on Sunday against the Bills, to not have that worry. But I think those are 3 weeks of enough. So now let's get Zach Wilson on the field being the backup against the Detroit Lions. And if Mike White continues to play well, Zach Wilson's not going to play again. And then there's another conversation to have. Are we trading Zach Wilson in the offseason? Do we go into training camp with an open competition with either Mike White or another quarterback? Because also, Jack, Mike White's an unrestricted free agent. So, there's no guarantee Mike White's the future if he balls out because we're going to have to pay him. Say Mike White leads this team to the playoffs and say even wins a playoff game, his price is going to go up.
Yep.
So, I don't even know what's going to happen with this quarterback situation. It's very interesting.
It's really tough to call, man. I want to put something on the screen real quick, if you don't mind, because I think this is a good point that a lot of us should kind of take a second and think about. Adam S says, "I support Zach and Mike White.
Yes,
they are not mutually exclusive."
This is exactly how every Jets fan should be.
Amen, dude. Because Zach's not playing good right now. We're in a season with playoffs on the line. Mike White is the better option right now. Talking about this individual season. You can also say, you know what? I really hope that, whatever happens this year, let's go to the playoffs. Let's win a couple games. Let's see what happens. I hope that the kid we drafted second overall is the future. There's absolutely nothing wrong in thinking that way. And I think that's a very logical, rational way to think about it. I really do. And I think more people should feel this way. Obviously, you can have your preference over who you'd want to see out there on the field, for the rest of this year, for this game, for the playoffs, for whatever, however you want to spin it. But there's no reason that if you're a Mike White guy, you have to hate on Zach Wilson. Or if you're a Zach supporter, you have to hate on Mike White. I think most rational Jet fans want to see this team win games. That is it. That is literally it. I don't care how we do it, what the final score is. I want to see this team win games so we can go to the postseason for the first time in 12 years, however it's been. So I just wanted to put that up there. Adam S., great point, man.
Yeah, great point. We're Jets fans. We're not fans of individuals, and that's been my point. I support whoever is the quarterback. I support whoever Robert Saleh believes is going to be the guy, and that's why when Zach Wilson was the guy, I was defending him and supporting him through his adversity. Whenever he had some bad plays, I would say, okay, let's figure out what is Zach Wilson struggling with? What does he need to improve on? And I'm not quick to write him off. And then Mike White comes out here and I'm supporting Mike White. There's nothing wrong with that, right? We are a Jets fan base. Don't become the Miami Dolphins fan base where there's a section of them that like are Tua Tagovailoa like super fans where, they're defending him blindly. And, if Tua gets traded, they follow Tua somewhere else. Like there's a whole other conversation to have with that, right? We're New York Jets fans. And whether you became a Jets fan because you're a BYU fan, that's a different conversation, right? You're definitely a Zach Wilson fan and you're supporting the Jets because of him. But in the reality is, I'm not writing off Zach Wilson yet, man. I think that if he can, behind closed doors, fix what he's fixing, we all know the talent's there physically. It's just all mentally for him. And I hope that he can figure it out. I like Zach Wilson as a person. And if it doesn't work out for the Jets, maybe he can figure out it somewhere else. But listen, if Zach Wilson becomes a franchise guy, I'm not upset. I'm pumped up. That's the best case scenario. Even this whole Mike White situation, like Zach Wilson, like if we can put a perfect scenario on the table right here, Jack, Zach Wilson returns this year and becomes a top 10 quarterback because financially speaking, that's what this team needs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love Mike White, and if he's a franchise guy and he gets a contract this year, sign me the hell up. I love everything about him. But financially wise, like, and investment wise, the best case scenario is Zach Wilson being the franchise quarterback for the long run. But unfortunately, he just hasn't proved it yet.
Yeah, I agree. I think, a lot of people would feel the same way, myself included. I think the best case scenario in all of this is that Mike White can finish out the year, get us into the playoffs. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I just want to get to the playoffs. If we win a game, fucking awesome. Amazing. Best day of my life, literally. But we need to get to the playoffs. That is the only thing I care about right now, getting to the playoffs. But I think the best case scenario, obviously, from a financial perspective as well, is Zach Wilson becoming the future of this team like we drafted him to be. And will Mike White stay on this team as our future forever backup? Who knows? Maybe not. He probably wants to play ball. But I think right now it's clear that Mike White is the better option moving forward. Zach needs to take some time away, needs to reset, needs to work on all the fundamentals, all the mechanics. He needs to bury his nose into the playbook. I don't want to see him, hand the ball off when everybody else is running routes down the field. But, I think that completely writing off Zach Wilson right now is not the way to go. Do I think that Zach Wilson is going to play another game for the Jets this year? No. My gut tells me no. That's what my gut is telling me right now. But would I be upset if Zach Wilson becomes the future quarterback of this team? Absolutely not, man. That's what we drafted him to do. And I'm not taking anything away from Mike White. I love Mike White. But, I still think the best case scenario for the long term would be if Zach Wilson was to work out. Who knows?
But then you look at the production, right? Because right now we want production over potential based on where we're at in this season. And the reality is Mike White already has 2 games that Zach Wilson's never done in his life. I mean, statistically, no. I mean, Zach Wilson has never had a 3-touchdown game. Mike White already has 2 of them. Mike White has a 400-yard game. He has 2 300-yard games. I mean, Mike White has already done stuff that Zach Wilson's never done, and Zach Wilson has 20 career games. Mike White has 4 career games, not including the one he started and got hurt in the first quarter against the Colts. So in a small sample size, Mike White is already a little bit more productive. So we'll definitely see, and that is the reason why Mike White's playing right now, because the Jets want production over potential, and and I feel like this Jets team is rallying behind him as well. I mean, you see in the press conference yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, Jack, but Mike White's getting interviewed. Elijah Moore comes up there, asks him a question, and
I did see that,
they're
actually.
cracking jokes. Michael Carter asks a question. It just feels like they really, buy into Mike White. So listen, we got a big game against the Buffalo Bills Sunday. I'm really, really excited for it. So we're going to finish off the stream here, guys. Jack, any last thoughts about this game on Sunday and your overall expectations for Mike White and, anything, your gut feeling about what's going to happen?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this game is really going to come down to the Jets defense being able to contain Josh Allen and shut down that offense and, hopefully limit them to a low score like 17, like the last game we saw. But then going in turn with that, we need our offense to be able to obviously put up points of our own. So this is, it's kind of a shitty answer, but we just need everybody to show up and play. The Buffalo Bills are a great football team. But like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm down for these Bills fans to be humbled a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Let's humble the Bills again, like we've already done this year. I think the map is there to get that done. The offensive line needs to ball out. The defensive line needs to ball out. Obviously, Sauce needs to ball out against Diggs. Gabe Davis is no slacker by any means as well. So we know the Bills are loaded with talent. We just got to come out and be the better team. It's going to be a huge game for Robert Saleh and his entire staff. Can we go into Buffalo, get the job done? I think we can, and I think we will. But I think it's going to be another close game, maybe a 3-point or, one score game, whatever that is, 6 or 7 points. I think we can and will get it done, but it's going to be a dogfight. But let's humble these Buffalo Bills fans that are acting like they've won the last 3 Super Bowls. You know what I'm saying? Let's humble these guys.
I'm down, man. It's going to come down to Jets dominating on all 3 phases, which won't be easy because the Bills are very good on all 3 phases. And we got to stick to our fundamentals and our formula of winning, which is running the football, playing stout defense, and winning on special teams and not turning the ball over. So that's really what it comes down to. And it's going to be a tough game in the elements. It's going to be an icy, cold game in the rain, potentially in the snow at 35 degrees in Buffalo. So that's why this team's got to really rely on the running attack with Bam Knight and Michael Carter. Luckily, Carter's back, which is big because we need 2 backs in this one. I don't really have a lot of trust in Ty Johnson or James Robinson as much as I do as Michael Carter and Bam Knight. So let's get those 2 boys involved. Let's run the damn football. Let's get some explosive offensive plays down the field with Garrett Wilson and those boys. And let's go make some noise, man. And let's go to 8-5. It won't be easy, man. But the reality is the Jets control their own destiny. We keep talking about, these players, these teams got to lose. These teams got to lose. Well, the reality is we have the 7th seed right now, and we control our own destiny. So let's continue that. It's a championship game for the rest of the season. The next 5 games are all championship games because they all have so much implications for the playoffs. So that's going to do it for the stream, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you Sunday for the play-by-play reaction, and let's go Jets, and let's get the dub.
Let's get it.